Orks, the faction that looks death in the eye and just laughs. I've fought in countless battles, including battles against Orks. And today I'm going to tell you why they are far more terrifying than you ever imagined. Where does that overwhelming desire to fight come from, even when everything is going wrong? Why does victory mean nothing to them, when only the brutal carnage matters? And why, despite all of this, Orks are arguably the happiest race in the entire Warhammer 40,000 universe. Orks don't fear death. A lot of people forget this when they first hear about Orks. That's a mistake. When an Ork charges into battle, death is the last thing on his mind. What matters is the experience itself, the fight, the slaughter, the chaos all around. I was personally part of a campaign to reclaim an entire sector of worlds. Our mission, direct engagement with Orks, face to face. And that is where I truly understood how dangerous they are. Their weapons and armor are cobbled together from scrap. You get the sense that their guns fire only because the Orks believe they should fire. After battles, we recovered the remnants of this weaponry. Heaps of metal, random junk. But in an Ork's hands, that heap of junk became something lethal. Some said it was madness, impossible. But here's what I'll tell you. In the heat of battle, an Ork is consumed by fury. Gork and Mork, their gods, bless them, grant them immense power. And when I witnessed it with my own eyes, I understood one thing. Under the blessing of their gods, Orks stop for nothing. Orks are built for war. The moment you see an Ork, you understand immediately. That body was made for one purpose and one purpose only: war. I've held a heavy bolter and kept firing, rounds hitting Orks square in the skull. And if you think that stopped them, you are deeply, deeply mistaken. Imagine what I felt. The desperation, watching Orks that had no physical right to still be alive, rise, crawl, and keep fighting. That was the moment I grasped just how resilient Orks truly are. Battle Brothers told me something else as well. Even after an Ork is destroyed, it doesn't truly die. It leaves behind spores. They spread across the entire planet, and before long, new Orks begin to grow. This process is nearly impossible to stop. The only solution is a full exterminatus. But no one wants to lose an entire world simply because Orks showed up. And here is one more thing worth knowing. Orks operate by a single, simple rule. The more you fight, the bigger and stronger you become. Some Orks grow to the size of a Space Marine dreadnought, a mountain of flesh and iron with unimaginable strength. These Orks become war bosses. They gather scattered warbands under their command and lead them into battle, promising one thing: a proper scrap. The most terrifying word in the universe. There is a moment in every Ork campaign when something shifts, when there are too many of them, when their war boss is powerful enough, when their collective hunger for a fight reaches its breaking point. And then, the WAAAGH happens. This is not simply a battle cry. It is something far greater. It is a psychic wave. The collective energy of thousands, tens of thousands, of Orks, all wanting one thing: a massive, glorious war. It ripples through the warp. It empowers their weapons. It makes them faster, stronger, more savage. I have read inquisitorial reports on what happens during a WAAAGH. Planets burn. Fleets are shattered. Entire systems are lost. But here is what you need to understand. Orks during a WAAAGH are happy, genuinely happy. This is the pinnacle of their existence. This is what they were born for. And no other race in this universe derives such pure, uncomplicated joy from what it does. Think about it. The Eldar carry the weight of their own extinction. The Tau believe in their greater good. But underneath that belief lies fear of the darkness beyond. The people of the Imperium pray, suffer, and die in the Emperor's name. The Necrons awaken after millions of years of slumber, only to wage war once more. And chaos? Chaos grants power, but takes your soul. Orks? Orks just fight, and they love every second of it. Green is the fastest color. Allow me to tell you about a phenomenon that has baffled more than one Magos of the Adeptus Mechanicus. Orks paint their vehicles red, and believe that red ones go faster. And you know what? They actually do go faster. This is the Ork psychic field at work. The collective unconscious of the entire race literally reshapes reality. A red vehicle goes faster, a bigger gun hits harder, more orcs around you, and you yourself become stronger. Magi studied captured orc weapons under controlled conditions. Without orcs nearby, most of those weapons simply didn't function. Heaps of metal haphazardly bolted together. No logic, no engineering, just belief that it should work. And this tells us something profound about orcs. They inhabit a world of their own making. Their reality is shaped by their convictions. In this regard, they are the most internally coherent race in the entire universe. They don't need science. They don't need sorcery. They only need to believe. And to believe with everything they have. Gork and Mork, the most honest gods in the universe. Every race has its gods, and almost every god has an agenda. Khorne demands blood, Nurgle desires decay, Tzeentch craves change, Slaanesh hungers for sensation. These are gods that take, gods that use their followers as instruments. Now look at Gork and Mork, two orc gods. One is brutally cunning, the other is cunningly brutal. That is the entire difference between them. They demand nothing from orcs that the orcs don't already want. They don't manipulate them. They don't promise rewards in the afterlife. They simply say, go and fight. And the orcs go, gladly. These are honest gods. By the standards of the Warhammer 40,000 universe, that is almost unheard of. And that is precisely why orcs never feel betrayed by their gods, because their gods never promise them anything beyond one simple thing: a good fight. Orcs never truly lose. Here is the paradox that occupied my thoughts for a long time. Orcs lose battles. Their fleets get destroyed. Their armies get scattered. Their war bosses get killed. But orcs do not lose. Because for an orc, defeat is simply the reason for the next fight. He doesn't analyze the failure, doesn't file a report, doesn't spiral into despair. He gets up and goes again. With the same fire in his eyes, the same grin on his face. I saw this firsthand. Our squad destroyed an orc mobile encampment. Total victory. We thought, that's it. It's over. 3 days later, they were back. The same orcs, or new ones. Impossible to tell. And they were charging again, as if nothing had happened. This isn't stupidity. This is resilience of spirit. Orcs are literally incapable of despair. It is carved into their very genetics. They were created by the ancients, a race that predates most of the species that exist today. They were engineered to be perfect warriors. Perfect, not in terms of strategy, but in terms of will to fight. And that will never fades. Never. The happiest race. Why this is true. Now, to the central question. Why are orcs happier than everyone else? Look at the Imperium. Billions of humans living in constant fear. Fear of chaos, of mutants, of Xenos, of the Inquisition, of each other. Their lives are survival, service, a duty that never ends. Look at the Tau. They build their greater good. They believe in progress. But behind that belief, anxiety. They know the universe is far larger and far darker than it appears, that the void at the edges of their empire never goes away. Look at the Eldar, a dying race. Every step they take is a struggle for survival. Every death is a loss that cannot be replaced. They carry the weight of tens of thousands of years of history, and they can already see the end of that history approaching. And orcs? Orcs don't know anxiety. They don't think about tomorrow. They live here and now, in this battle, in this moment, when blade meets blade, when the guns thunder, when the world around them dissolves into glorious chaos. And in that chaos, an orc smiles, genuinely. The last thing I want to tell you. I have fought many enemies. I have seen the fanaticism of chaos. The cold precision of the Necrons, the calculated patience of the Tau, the ancient pride of the Eldar. But none of those enemies, not one, has ever marched into battle with the same sincere, uncomplicated joy as the Orks. And I'll admit, sometimes I thought about this during rest between engagements, when exhaustion pressed down on my shoulders and the losses had long since become too many to count. Who among us is truly free? We fight out of duty, out of fear, in the name of an emperor who, perhaps, has long since stopped hearing us. Orks fight because they want to, simply because they want to, and that is enough. Maybe, in this mad, brutal, never-ending universe, that is what true freedom looks like. My brothers, if you made it this far, you already know what we're dealing with. Hit subscribe, because I've got a lot more stories where that came from.